Hi guys, I'm back and I wanted to catch up on a few requests for you. So, of all the requests, I try and pick the ones that more than one person asked for and get to them. So, today I'll be doing a follow up on Avenatti. He seems to be interested, making noises about making a run for 2020. And then after that, I'll do a bit of a gossip reading on Omarosa. Okay. So, Avenatti, interesting character. I think it's going to be a really interesting race in 2020 just for who's going to be put up by the Democrats because there's some talent there. There's Adam Schiff, really nice guy, could be a bit soft for the top job. Kamala Harris. There are also the new Democrats like Conor Lamb in Philadelphia or wherever he's from, and the one recently, Danny O'Connor and so forth. So there is a talented field coming up. But now I'm going to do a character reading on Avenatti. Let's see. Okay, oh sorry, let me pull these down. I've got them face down, then I'll flip them up. Okay. What's his signifier? Justice. That's nice to get for a lawyer. It should be, of course, across the board for all lawyers, but so not. So I'm very pleased to see the Justice card out there front and centre. What is his outward quality? He's prepared to do battle. He keeps going. He'll fight on his own if necessary. He's used to being embattled. He actually loves the war. I don't mean war in terms of starting wars. I mean the political battle. His inward quality, disappointment. And that could be personally some huge disappointment in his life that affected how he thinks about the world, or it could be and his inward quality now, he's disappointed in the calibre of politicians. He would not be alone there. So that's interesting. Justice is his primary force. He's up for the battle and he's disappointed basically about the others who are out there. So this is his goal: temperance or integration. I like to see that it's an interesting combination of someone who's not afraid of the battle, but who ultimately would fight for America to be more integrated and more representative of who has built America, who has made America strong, and today's United States, not yesterday's view. So, interesting. His motivation, juggling. It can also be manipulation. But if you put it together with the temperance, you see how the temperance figure is pouring from one cup to the other, meaning giving to those who need it and back again. It's a very reciprocal card. And so this lends itself more to that juggling. The juggling of wealth, American wealth, instead of it just going to the 1%. I think he has a really strong social justice agenda as his motivation. What's at stake? The Hermit card. That's at stake. That's American isolation, right? He's motivated by integrating America with itself and the world, major arcana, instead of this ridiculous 30s isolationism that Trump represents. Well, this is very interesting. Okay, what are Avenatti's needs? Judgment. He's got justice and judgment. He needs to see justice being done. He wants to see people rise up and respond to the call. He wants people to fight for justice. He'll do his bit, but he wants other people to be part of it. Interesting. What is the source of these needs? The devil. Something happened. Something happened in Avenatti's early life. It might not be one thing. This could be a huge and awful thing that happened to the family, or it could be he's worked as a lawyer. Some of you guys will probably know who he worked for. He worked for someone famous. But he saw things weren't always done in people's interests. That offended him. He finds that evil. He finds the injustice evil. He has to act. And what is the effect? Yes, he's the Knight of Swords. Isn't that interesting? Viewers, it's a very good reading for Avenatti in terms of just going for it. I'm not reading now on who is going to be the next president of the United States because it's too early and there's too many things going on to be clear about that. So this is just about who are likely to be in the mix for the Democrats or even the independents, right? Or to go as an independent. We have a party of independents, it's a bit confusing. They came and went. This is an interesting spread for someone who wants that job because he's hugely motivated by justice. It's like he's the opposite of the swamp. You know, Trump came in saying he was going to drain the swamp when in fact he turned it into a toxic waste dump. So I like this. I like this about Avenatti. He's got it. He's got what it takes. And he has said on the record, the Democrats really need a scrapper or someone who can really fight. We had a Prime Minister probably 20 years ago now, Paul Keating, in Australia. And he was for Labor, the equivalent of your Democrats. But he was fearless. Now, there are other problems with things that Paul Keating did, but what he was brilliant at, and I see it in Avenatti, people were terrified of him, people on the other side, because they could come out with their waffle and he would just eat them alive. He would eat them alive. And so that's what you need. They're not afraid of Schumer, they're not afraid of Nancy Pelosi. You want someone who strikes fear in the deep, corrupt Republican heart, right? You need someone where the voters come away from when he speaks going, whoa, he's my man, or whoa, you don't want to go up against him. He's got that factor. So more power to his elbow, but it's a long time, viewers, between now and 2020, as we know. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ran. I think it's a good thing if he runs. But we have a long way between now and then. So, wasn't going to do Omarosa because I just think she's a grasping, self-serving witch. You just know the type from school, right? You know, she'd be a dobber. Don't like her. Think she's hugely talented. She couldn't even pull off Black History Month in the early days of the Trump presidency. That was the only thing she was asked to do. She actually isn't that competent, you know. So it's up to the African American community how she's seen in the history of that community. But things I've seen so far, I don't think many people are fooled by Omarosa. So let's see, what do we want to know? All right. What was her motivation for the book? What does she think she's going to get out of it? What's Omarosa's idea of what she's going to get out of the book? Let me bring you down. Yes, well, she thinks she's going to capture the hearts and minds. I think she thinks she's going to be written into the history books as a civil rights activist or something. She really does have tickets on herself. She sees herself in shining armour. This is the Six of Wands, the Victory card. Now this reminds me, viewers, one of my famous digressions. I did a reading months ago about who would be the next President of the United States. And this card came up, the Six of Wands, and it indicates to me, I'm off Omarosa for a minute, back under that, someone new we haven't met yet in terms of a candidate, including someone who's quite worldly, and I would go as far as to say someone, obviously who's born in the States because we know about the birther controversy, but at least one parent born overseas who understands the complexity of identity politics and world politics. So although it's turned up for Omarosa, that reminded me on seeing it, I think whoever does become president, we haven't met yet. Now, what does it mean for Omarosa? She was in service of, because this is in her past, she was in service of the king or the emperor, and so she had some degree of power and influence, which she wielded like a blunt instrument. Because she's one of those people, I don't think she's secretly insecure, it's not that. She has an inflated sense of self, and so she punishes other people. So she got everybody offside with trying to be a female Trump. Doesn't work for him, didn't work for her. And I'm sorry, Omarosa, outcome not good, darling. I said love, I said pet. Take a look. You know. Now, on the one hand, this could be Omarosa getting absolutely caned over this, or I think it also, maybe at the same time, these are swords in the back of Trump, so it might not be altogether bad. The book, let's just see, that's my next question, in terms of who will read the book. Will it have any cut through? It's bound to be embarrassing, but will it have any cut through to the base? Because that's the only thing that matters, really. And I don't know how closely they're listening to what a black woman has to say about their hero. So that would indicate it does do some damage to Trump, but let's see. Omarosa's book. Will it have cut through to the base? Funny, isn't it? How these cards come up in different contexts. Justice on top. The question being, will it cut through to the base? I think it will, but I have reservations. Okay, so let me explain in a moment. The King of Pentacles, this is, in this case, Trump and also those like Trump and the Trump family. That's the card of avarice, never having enough. It's the card of excess. Can't have enough money, jewels, property, power, dripping in avarice and selfishness. It could be Omarosa herself, but I think it's Trump and family. Then there's the Nine of Cups. I read this differently from a lot of readers. Traditionally, it's hopes and dreams fulfilled. I see this as a very self-satisfied merchant figure who's got fat and got rich on the labour of others. So I'm sure she'll sell enough copies, but for her, why she loved the Trump was she admired his greed, and she wanted to be part of that, and she wanted that sort of wealth. She's going to make money off the book, but it's not going to be the sort of stuff that will keep her in this lifestyle. So she's going to keep turning up, whether we like it or not, on those endless speaking tours and so forth. So that's what I take by that card. She got justice, but she also gets judgment. So she thinks she's setting the record straight, that she's the voice of justice in that sense, setting the record straight. But she's going to be judged for this as well. So in answer to the question, will it cut through to the base? I think it will, but it's not going to actually sway the base. But it's the sort of thing that people read who don't read other books. It's the sort of thing that has legs in terms of publicity. So none of us will be able to escape what's in the book. So they will hear about it. It'll niggle away at them, but I don't think it's going to really hive off the rusted on supporters. So my last question is, how does Trump see the book? How does Trump see the book? Let's have a quick look at that issue. Walking away, holding on to money, that is a fool, and not happy. Okay. So the main card here is he's going to distance himself. He's going to walk away from it. He already has. He's now describing her as a lowlife. So that's not news. He's protecting his money, but he's also, in this context, holding on to his reputation. So this figure, you see, often called the miser's card, he's just holding on, is all you can say about that. He's holding on to everything. The Fool card, he could think she's a fool for going against him, or it could also be that she exposes him for being a fool. They're both valid interpretations, I think, with these two people. And the Four of Cups, I think this is her not getting what she wants from the book, either from Trump or anyone else. She'll get exposure and she'll get some money and she'll get some emotional satisfaction about being in the limelight again because she's a bit of a media whore. So there's that, but it's not enough and it's not what she expected. So she couldn't have thought she'd get any other reaction from Trump. But at the same time, I don't think she's going to come out of it that well herself. Interesting, isn't it, viewers? Keep the comments up, please. All right, that's it for this minute. Bye.